Time for Big Pete.
The Premier League is the biggest and best football division in the entire world. It's consisted of 20 teams since 1995, with 3 new entries every year. This season, the 3 new teams entering the Premier League are Norwich City, Sheffield United and Aston Villa. Unlike last season, none of the promoted teams are Welsh, meaning with Cardiff suffering relegation last year that for the first time since 2010, all 20 Premier League clubs are English. We'll start with Norwich. Residing in East Anglia, Norwich are based more than 100 miles away from the nearest Premier League club, making Carrow Road a bit of a nightmare to get to. Despite this, it is widely considered an away day favourite, with its quirky shape providing a certain charm. Norwich are a club with character in abundance, making them a certified Marmite club. Personally, I've always found them a bit annoying, but that's largely down to the fact they've been a bogey club for us for as long as I can remember. Speaking of bogeys, Norwich kits have been iconic over the years, with arguably the most famous one coming back in the 92-93 inaugural season of the Premier League. This proved to be quite a famous season for the Canaries as they occupied first position for much of the campaign, despite being one of the favourites for relegation before the season started, before finally succumbing to Fergie's United, finishing third. Being second favourites for relegation this season, the Green and Yellow Army would surely take a similarly miraculous campaign under Daniel Farke this time around. And some would argue it's not so far-fetched to think Farke might pull off a miracle this season. The 42-year-old German hung up his boots at the age of just 31 after spending the majority of his playing career in the German lower leagues. A year later, he took over as the first team manager at the club for whom he spent the majority of his playing career with, SV Lippstadt. After 6 years there, his work hadn't gone unnoticed, and in 2015 he was appointed the manager of Borussia Dortmund's second team. Stuart Webber, a man who many feel was the mastermind behind Huddersfield's promotion in 2017, left West Yorkshire to work under Delia and co at Norwich. His first point of action was to copy and paste his success at Huddersfield by appointing Daniel Farke, and in just his second season in charge he steamrolled the championship, accumulating 94 points. Sound familiar? So maybe seeing Norwich challenging higher up the table this season wouldn't be so crazy. Next up we have Sheffield United, who have replaced Huddersfield as the Premier League's only Yorkshire representative. The Blaze have been absent from the Premier League for 12 years, including a 6-year spell in League One. That spell ended with the appointment of lifelong Blade Chris Wilder in 2016, who guided United to the League One title in his first season with 100 points. In the 2 years since, Wilder's Sheffield United have been one of the teams to watch in the Championship, delivering unforgettable matches like the 4-2 win at Hillsborough and last season's 1-0 win at Elland Road. The 32,000 capacity Bramall Lane is sure to be rocking next season, with another lifelong Blade, Billy Sharp, leading the line and captaining his boyhood club, as the 33-year-old finally gets a proper crack at the Premier League after a career of ruining Championship and League One defences. Finally, we have Aston Villa. This mammoth of a club are back in the big time after 3 years. These founding members of the Football League and the Premier League have an honours list that rivals the very best in the country. The Villains are 7 times Premier League winners, 7 times FA Cup winners, 5 times League Cup winners, but most importantly they were crowned European champions in 1982. Meaning they are part of the illustrious list including Liverpool, Man United, Nottingham Forest and Chelsea to have claimed big ears. Almost as iconic as their history is their stadium, as Villa have resided in the 42,000 capacity Villa Park for over 100 years. The famous Holt End stand is sure to be bouncing next year, with this Villa team looking to write their names in the already novel-sized Aston Villa history book. So that was a brief overview of the newcomers to the Premier League this season. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please drop a like and subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you soon!
Check it. One day I went to Lidl. I went to shoplift in Lidl. Then I got caught in Lidl. Now I don't go back to Lidl.